Oh, y'all got to give me more energy than that. Hey, TEDx. I know that's right. So look, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine called me. She was so excited. She said, guess what? I'm like, what? She said, I'm pregnant. So I'm excited too. I'm like, yes, girl. And then she said, would you be my child's godmother? Honey, I was ecstatic. I was honored. I'm like, yes, I want to be part of the village. She called me back 3 weeks later and said, guess what? I said, what? She said, I'm having twins. I got less excited because who the other godmother is? I said yeah to one child, not two. She said, well, I don't want to separate them. I want to keep them together. I said, well, I won't be separating any gifts either. Know that. One baby shower gift, one birthday gift, one Christmas gift. She was like, wait a minute, so you're going to make them share? I say, if they can share your womb for 9 months, they can share a Barbie doll too, ma'am, okay? But she wants me to be one of these overactive godmothers. Have them all the time, do girl weekends, sleepovers. I'm not doing any of that, honey. I said, I'm not that type of godmother. She called me not too long ago and says, I have them all the time. I said, who's supposed to have them? They're yours, girl. You don't want to get them? No. So I had to look, and I seen that, traditionally, the godparent is the one, if something happens to the parent, honey, you're supposed to be next in line. I said, we need to come up with some other terms and conditions, okay? I'm not. It's a lot of stress. I said, now, if something happens to you, obviously, they finna go to their well-abled father, okay? Something happens to him, God forbid, they gonna go to your mama, okay? Because they got a grandmama, too. But now, God forbid, both parents are gone, something happens to the grandmother, they're gonna go to his mama because they got two grandmamas. Like, why are you making me number two? You know what I'm saying? But now, if both parents are gone and then both grandmothers are gone too, I would have to step up and do my part. You know what I'm saying? So the next thing they would have to do is call foster care, then call me. You know what I'm saying? I'm that type of godmother, okay? I was like, I want to be a part of the village, okay? I'm not trying to be the chief Indian, though, I bought a new house recently. It's been almost a year. Thank you, yay! But, trying to get lawn care and all these things going on, I thought I had everything set up. And then my lawn man went out of town for like a month. And my yard looked like a rainforest, right? I couldn't find anybody to come out. Everybody was packed. It was the middle of the summer. So I'm standing outside one day. A guy pulls up on a riding lawnmower. I said, this must be God. This is perfect. He said, ma'am, you need your grass cut. I said, obviously. So red flag number one should have been that he was on a riding lawnmower. Because who on a Saturday is just randomly riding around on a lawnmower, right? Like it ain't attached to nothing. He just own it, riding in the middle of the street. So I said, well, how much would you charge me? He looked at my front yard. He said, $20. I said, well, check the back, too. He looked at the back. He said, $20 for the front and back. That was red flag number two, because you are charging crackhead prices, sir. Nobody charges $20 to do a yard. I mean, I don't have that big of a yard, but it's more than $20, okay? So I said, okay, fine. So I go in the house. I'm doodling around the house. Usually it takes my yard man somewhere about 30, 35 minutes, and he's done. 45 minutes later, this man is still out here on this riding lawnmower. Like, he was out there so long, I thought he had to just got off the lawnmower and was cutting the grass with scissors. Like, what is taking you so long, sir? So, I'm in the house an hour later. Finally, I hear the lawnmower cut off. I go outside. There is not a patch of grass in my yard. He had it on the lowest setting. He had cut everything. It looked like a baseball field in my yard. Do you hear me? I said, sir, I asked you to cut my yard, not give it a Brazilian wax. What is going on? Now I'm wearing cleats just to check my mail. Okay? This don't make no sense. And that was in July. I still ain't had to get nobody else to cut the grass because it ain't grown back. Okay? It's ridiculous. I had a little situation online. I had a stalker on Instagram, y'all. Oh, let me tell you. So this man randomly pops in my inbox and says, can I pay you for videos of you yawning? And I thought, well, I had the same response. Okay. And so I ignored the message. He sent it again. Can I pay you for videos of you yawning? And to make it even worse, he goes on one of my posts and says, check your inbox. I'm like, I see the message. I'm just not responding to your crazy, sir. So right when I was about to block him, he sent a different message. It said, what's your Cash App? What's your PayPal? What's your Venmo? I said, oh, this man is serious. I was like, oh, you paying me for this? Seriously? Honey, I went and charged my phone and took some melatonin. I said, what kind of bills can I pay with this? Like, is this a little chump change or can I pay a bill, okay? Like, what are we got going on? I had to do it, though. Now, I will tell you like this. Now, if you're looking to make a little extra change, send him a video with your CPAP machine on. Now, he doubles the payments for those, okay? I was able to pay my car off, all right? I was definitely able to pay my car off. You hear me? So I used to have a corporate America job. I worked in this wonderful building. They had all these great things going on. And one of the things that I liked the most in the building was they had a rest pod. You could literally book an appointment to take a 25-minute nap at work. Favorite part of the building. If you didn't see me at my desk, that's where I was, okay? So I'm in there taking my regularly scheduled nap that I take. And there's an attendant in there. She's usually not in there most times, but she happened to be in there this day. So 10 minutes into my appointment, she comes in the room. And she's like, ma'am, you can't be in here. And I'm like, why? I said, I have my scheduled appointment. My name is on the door. She said, ma'am, you're not allowed to have a CPAP machine in here with you. And I thought that was disrespectful because I said, ma'am, that's how I sleep, okay? I need a little assistance when I sleep, okay? I was like, if I don't have this CPAP machine on, it could go terribly wrong. I'm trying to rest peacefully. You trying to make me rest in peace, okay? I need a little help, all right? And I said, I feel like I'm doing my coworkers favor, because if I don't have it on, you're going to think it's a grizzly bear in his sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you want a little extra noise, or you want me to be in the room looking like a fighter jet pilot? Like either or, what do you want? Or otherwise, it's gonna sound like a Harley Davidson revving its engine. Okay, work with me. But I used to love being in the building. Now I had worked from home for 4 years, and then they were like, "Hey, pandemic is over, come in," and I didn't like it at all. One of my biggest issues was they expected me to wear a bra for 8 hours a day. I had been home for 4 years. Like things were free range at home. We were cage free at the house. Okay. Things were able to move about the cabin freely, okay? There was nothing high and lifted up. We were very much swing low at the house. But now I got to come in here and put on a bra for 8 hours? Honey, the second day in the building, I'm looking in the employee handbook. I was like, it got to be a loophole. It got to be. I go to HR. I'm like, are you sure I'm supposed to wear this? I don't see it in here. She said, well, it's implied. I said, okay. 2 weeks later, a guy starts working there. He's about my size. I went right to HR. I said, Kyle ain't got no bra. He just sitting willy-nilly at y'all desk. I should be able to do the same. This is an equal opportunity employer, is it not? What we got going on. But I had to get out of there because there was some weird people working in there. People come in, there was a lot of people doing customer service in the building. There was one particular guy, I had to pass his desk to get to my desk, and he had this little doodle pad on his desk. He said, I kind of doodle while I'm on the phone with clients. I said, okay. So one day he said, you want to see some of my drawings? I said, okay. So he opens it up, and every time he flip a page, I backed a little further away from his desk. I'm like, okay. I said, sir, when do you do this? He says, well, I'm on the phone with clients. I said, what are they saying to you? Because every page was either a skull, a crossbone, or a tombstone. So what are they saying, sir, that got you drawing them like this? So I went back to HR. I said, we got a situation. So what's the problem? I said, the Grim Reaper's grandson worked for y'all. That's the problem. Okay? She was like, what's happening? I said, he got tombstones and crossbones and skull. The lady was like, it's probably not that big of a situation. I said, you don't sit 5 feet away from him, okay? I said, what if he start writing names on these tombstones? I said, right now, it's a doodle pad. 6 months from now, it's a manifesto. I don't want to be a victim, okay? I should work from home. I had to get up out of there. I said, this is a hostile work environment. I can't do it. So I feel like he found out that I went to HR because like the next day I get ready to leave. And usually I just say bye. He says, drive safe, Jennifer. Obviously that told me he had found my car on his lunch break and cut the brake line, okay? Baby, I ain't drove that car in 6 months. Do you hear me? If y'all are looking for an Altima 2017 Altima, it's parked somewhere in Riverside. I am Jenn Weeks. Thank you so very much, TEDx. Have an amazing day.